Hello, everybody, and welcome to 3 of I, brought to you by Head Check Health. I am Mike Hickey, and with me is...
It's Charles.
How's it going, buddy?
Good. Well, you know, I watched a game simulation, literally.
So everything's gone to shit in the last little bit. So last week I was out of town for a little bit, which is a whole thing in and of itself that we'll talk about in a little bit. I was out of town, then you were out of town, and we just we were like ships in the night, and we just never managed to get.
Wow, poetic.
And we've got a guest that we've had lined up, and has just been like, because the schedules has just been a mess. So we will hopefully have him on very soon. We still won't say who it is, just because it may continue to just get fucked up.
I think they're busy.
I don't know that they are right now. That's the thing. But anyway, the whole point is that it's been a while and some craziness has happened. I don't know if you guys have heard, but this really crazy thing happened. Like, remember a couple months ago when the NHL and the NHLPA just kind of came to terms and decided they were going to let the current CBA roll through so that the hockey season next year wouldn't be effective. Fans wouldn't need to go without hockey through this horrible period where everything's up in the air and you just don't know what's happening and you're feeling anxious and you don't work. So anyway, they resolved it to let the CBA roll through so there will be no interruption to hockey. And then...
And we all got friggin' spoiled.
This is like... We're not... Yeah, so they postponed the hockey season. I'm heartbroken. You know what the thing that kills? You know what the thing that bothers me the most with the whole thing is?
What's that?
Is that there's been a bunch of times this season where there's been a Bruins game on television, and I, as a fan, were like watching something else, and then realized, oh, the Bruins game is on, and then I was just like, I'm just gonna finish this movie or finish this TV series, and I kind of took it for granted, and I was just kind of like, I'll watch it all in the playoffs, and I'll be glued to it, and it'll be whatever. And then this happened, and now I'm just kind of like, I could have watched those movies now, but hockey was only then, and I'm just like so torn, and it's killing me.
So I was adhering to a run schedule in which I would run 5K each Leafs game.
Right, yeah.
I kept it going until I jimmied a knee at the second game of hockey we played. So it was about on the
how'd you
bench,
jimmy your knee?
On the bench, sliding down the bench, and I so it was like good enough to skate and glide on the next Mike's coughing in front of me. That's a bit.
It's literally just, it's really just a tickle in my throat. It wasn't, I won't cough again for the rest of the episode.
So I was sliding down the, when this goes live, if I'm developed symptoms, please let everybody know that. So I was sliding down the bench, caught a rut with a skate, and my knee kind of stayed put, but the rest of my body and leg moved down the bench. And so I missed, long story short, is the last 3 to 4 Leafs games. No, only 3. I was behind 3, so I ran it was a deficit of 15K there, and I was leaving for the West Coast, where my trip, West Coast Newfoundland, of course, where my trip would have been another 2 games. So I was like, fuck, I don't know if I'm at this late in the year. I don't know if I can mix in 20 extra kilometers and still add to still get the games that are going on as they're going on, and I was like, well, pick away at it, and I wasn't even past Gander before they canceled I guess they're saying postponed, but I don't, given what we know since that announcement was made about a week ago, I don't think we're going to see any regular season games back.
I don't know. I've seen a couple different proposals. There's the ridiculous one that's just roll a 2014 playoff right away. The NHLPA came back, apparently. I saw this posted. I think it was our buddy Mark Allred that posted the NHLPA was looking at a version that they proposed that basically took hockey through to the playoffs in September. They basically put things on hold till June, come back, play the remaining part of the season, then roll into playoffs through August and September, basically, was what they were looking at. October for the draft and all that kind of stuff, then start a regular season again in November. The NHL has said that they only want one season affected by this. They're going to do whatever they can to keep this season.
I can see that.
They're going to try to do whatever they can to keep whatever happens contained to this season. So whatever they try to do for next year, or whatever they try to do to accommodate this year, it won't hinder the 82-game season next year. Or the schedule and like have that roll late or whatever. Right?
Here's a question for you, and I've asked this a couple of times, and I've gotten mixed, and I'll ask anybody wants to tweet us at this. So, if they bring it back in July or June, and they have the playoffs, and they go straight through it, and it's a 2014 playoffs, and half of it is 3 out of 5, and some teams get a bye, and all of this. When they award,
either way, there is an asterisk this season.
Okay,
I think regardless I think if they come back tomorrow and still do everything, this weird gap in the season puts an asterisk there because it affects it cools down teams that basically the way icing is laid out in the league and the way face-offs are done is because they know that even in a game situation, cooling a team down for a bit, there's an advantage to that, and there's a reason the home team has whatever. So the idea that a team on a streak or somebody who is just kind of rolling, all of a sudden in the middle of that gets a 7, like I said, even if they picked it up 2 weeks from now, which is kind of like the best case scenario, but it won't happen. It won't happen till at least May 1st or something like that. So if you put a month and a half gap in the middle of a hockey season, no matter who wins what, you've got to put an asterisk there. And I'll say that with the only team with my favorite team is the only team currently with 3-digit points. I still think, and you know what? I will say something else.
This is what got me yelled at.
What did you say?
Don't even do it for the Stanley Cup. Just do it for the President's Trophy. Do it for the President's Trophy this year. Don't even do it for because my thing was okay. So if
I am so mad at you right now,
but
if I was allowed to get closer to you, I would slap you in the face.
Yeah,
right
we've
now.
got our mics distanced here. So and this is my logic. So already you're saying asterisk this, asterisk that. Yada. Mike's got a measuring tape there. Where are we at?
4.5. But
all right. Well, So asterisk this, asterisk that. It's already this. It's already that. So why even do it? Why, honestly, if you're
fans, for the people, for the players, for the fans, for everybody.
You just complained about the Stanley Cup having an asterisk.
I didn't complain about it. I didn't complain about. I didn't complain about an asterisk.
If you're a player, though, and here's the other thing: if you're a player, is this how you want your Stanley Cup? Is this how you want it?
Yes, you want a Stanley Cup. I think.
You, if there's an asterisk next to it, did you?
Yes. I think because I think I think as far as it's concerned, I think that you're still playing. You're playing a long schedule. You're going through this. You're still talking about a long playoff format. It's the reason the asterisk is there to denote below that there was a gap and the season was weird this year. It wasn't that it was just that this is a little bit uncommon. But I would rather an asterisk than say everything up to now was for naught.
I don't know. And listen, I might be the only one eating crow here, but if my team wins this Stanley Cup playoffs, if it is for the Stanley Cup, the throttle's,
I'm sorry,
the throttle's only going up to about 60 for me.
Really?
If
the Toronto Maple Leafs came out of this and won a Stanley Cup, you'd be like, not as sweet.
I would always be like, I need one in the real world. I need one in the real world that's not. So don't even, in my opinion, let them play for the President's Trophy or the Prince of Wales Trophy or giant bust of Gary Bettman.
No, I think
giant bronze.
I think it's still the Stanley Cup.
Side profile Gary Bettman. The thing weighs 42 pounds. Nobody can lift it.
I think it's still
the Caps win it. Nobody gets a hernia.
I think it's still the Stanley Cup. I think the only thing is that you had there's an asterisk by when Roger Maris beat Babe Ruth.
Yeah,
right.
Is there an asterisk by the lockout shortened seasons?
I believe so. Yeah,
I don't think there is. In the actual, if you go on the NHL website, I don't think it's there.
There's only one lockout shortened season.
1994?
Oh, 94.
Yeah.
They did come back, right?
Yeah,
it wasn't it wasn't the whole season.
Yeah.
I was thinking, shit.
No, there's 2, and I don't think there's any asterisks there noting that this was a shortened season.
Either way, I think...
Especially the second... Yeah, it was the second the second Blackhawks Dynasty Cup was the one that they came back, and the one thing that I always...
I know, because they beat the Bruins in 6.
Yeah, the one thing I always noted on that was the easiest... Yeah, and someone's probably going to yell at me for this because there was a compacted schedule. That was the easiest travel on anybody in the NHL. It was a compacted schedule, and there was no East-West games. It was all East-East, West-West.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, Chicago to Boston was probably even the most convenient final we've had in a while, isn't it?
Well,
who was Boston, St. Louis? Yeah, like
Boston, St. Louis, pretty. Yeah,
it's pretty good. But I mean, either way, you're
I think Pittsburgh and Detroit. Those were like, yeah. Those
were hopping the bus.
Detroit was in the West Conference for so fucking
That's
long.
basically like that'd be the same as if you were trying to drive from the Halifax airport to Halifax. Like like depending on where the airports are, you might as well, right? But I know. I think an asterisk. I'm okay with an asterisk on it, just because of the weird situation and any kind of last minute unprepared. Because the other thing that changes from the lockout seasons is that everybody started those seasons. The lockout happened leading in. So everybody started those seasons knowing exactly what they were getting into. This is changing mid-stride. And that's why I think you can look at an asterisk, because you have to denote this was really fucked up.
Yeah, fair. This, we in all honesty, this is a very fluid situation. There might be something might arise where we just don't get. We just, and there is, Gary Bettman made a statement. There is, because of the Spanish flu in the year that they had no Stanley Cup, there is an amendment to the rule book in which it gets handed to the team with the most points in the standings, being the Boston Bruins. But Bettman kind of came out and said, like, we're going to do everything in our power to not do that because, one, we don't want our trophy getting handed out like that, and we don't think people want to win a trophy like that. Which I was like, okay, if people don't want a trophy like that, like this weird... The craziest,
no, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I would get a Boston Bruins 2020 Stanley Cup champions T-shirt. I totally would. But that said, I don't want them to win like that.
No, I don't think anyone.
I don't. Nobody wants that.
The only person that would ham it up, and I think and everybody but me would hate him for it, and I usually hate him for everything. I think Brad Marchand.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
I think he would definitely ham it up. Like,
but you know why I don't want them to give the cup to him that way?
Still have his day with the cup, even though they didn't.
But you know why I don't want them to hand it to him that way?
Why is that?
It's because fuck Jeremy Jacobs.
Oh,
I am so mad about this. Every other team in the league at this point has come forward and confirmed that they are going to do something to accommodate temporary, like part-time staff that work for them who are losing income because the games are canceled. Everybody. Eugene Melnick has said they're going to do something.
I missed that.
Yeah, that happened the other night.
So at this point, going to have a pie raffle.
It's literally only Jeremy Jacobs. And you know what the worst part about all this is?
He's probably the richest one.
He's not only the richest one, but do you know how he made all his money? A sports concessions business.
Oh, that's pretty.
That his father and uncle started.
No, he didn't make the money. He inherited it.
No. Yeah. They started it. He turned it into Delaware North, and it's this massive thing. He's owned the Bruins since 1975. Okay. Like, he inherited the business in like 67 or something, and then bought the Bruins in 75. Has owned them that long, but it's a sports concession business that he's built into this massive empire. As a second generation CEO who just kind of turned it into this whole thing. But man, the fact that like making money off sports concessions and making like $400 billion or whatever it is he has, but he can't pay it back at this point to these people who are put out. He won't.
He doesn't, but this podcast.
But I'm so fucking angry. Like, I'm a huge...
This goes in a whole different direction if I start talking about billionaires, and I just, I'm not going to. However, I will say this. The last lockout, the last shortened season lockout, I kind of drank a bit of the Kool-Aid in terms of, well, you know what, maybe this is on the players. And I was really wrong. Like, it took me probably about less than a full year when everything kind of went back to normal. I'd be like, wait a minute, like, this is insane. No, it's not the players. So a lot of players, especially in the NBA level, and then, of course, it caught fire to the NHL, they were the first ones to say, like, hey, you know what, I've done it. I think Bobrovsky was a guy who went and
Bobrovsky did it, but again, that makes me mad too.
He wanted to match. He wanted to match. So I was like, okay, these guys, absolutely, they're multi-millionaires, 100%. But they're being paid by these billionaires. Other people. Yeah, and they're being paid by billionaires. So the difference of like Sergei Bobrovsky shelling out $100,000 is like me paying, I'd say, a parking ticket about $35. Parking ticket to St. John's give you about $35.
It really depends on what it's for.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking about like if I just
parking tickets in St. John's are a lot kind of like whose line is it anyway? Where the
Yeah,
points
fair.
are made up and the scores don't matter.
Yeah,
They're
fair.
just like, it's just, your car like paused briefly in front of a building, so here's a $50 ticket.
So in relative to that, Sergei Bobrovsky's salary from a billionaire that owns the team is pretty much like a cup of coffee.
The fact of the matter is, this person can pay the other person, and they're the employer of the other person. And the fact, and that they're willing to give somebody, as an organization, are willing to give an individual so much money that individual can cover the other people, but the organization won't.
Yeah,
it's frustrating.
yeah,
and like you said, we can go off on this, and we can do tangents about millionaires and billionaires and all these different things. And I mean, God love it. I'd love to be in their ranks someday to be like, no, you peasants. But in the meantime, just know that I'm really fucking angry at the owner of my favorite team. And as much as I love the team, I'm really fucking mad about it.
One thing I'll bring up, and if everyone says like, "Oh, why are these guys ranting about this?" Well,
there's no hockey, so we need to talk about hockey-related shit.
We're really grasping at. If you didn't think so before, boy, are they grasping at straws now.
If we weren't going on tangents about non-hockey related things before, wait till there's no fucking hockey.
And two, the Calgary Flames are the first team to reverse their decision, which I believe the Winnipeg Jets followed suit shortly thereafter.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that always bugged me with the Winnipeg Jets is kind of like you go into their barn and the anthem happens and they scream True North. It's like, yes, our corporate overlords. And then something happens and True North is like, yeah, we don't think we're going to pay you. And everyone's like, Jesus Christ, how could they not? And then there's outrage and it's like, April Fools on that one. Like,
oh man.
And Calgary as well. Calgary rescinded their statement that they weren't paying people. And anyway,
either way,
yeah,
it all sucks. Everything's stupid. I miss hockey.
I too miss
but
hockey.
I got to play, and you didn't.
Do you have any games in the like? So, do you keep a watch list when you go through the season? Do you write out the Bruins? You don't write out the schedule anywhere and then have a game notes or anything like that?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm the weird one, but
yeah, I
have a calendar, and it's just essentially there's like the schedule, the Leaf schedule, and there's just game notes on it. And
you've talked about this before, and I've called you weird for doing it before.
I think I've got 4 games that I never watched so far this year that I know the outcome, but I think I'm going to go back and when I get into my office tomorrow, I'm going to write down those 4 games and be like, well, I've got 4 games to ration out here.
Yeah.
That I just haven't seen, so there's no game notes, and then I'll just this is bad. This is how bad it is. I'm going back to like November 5th, and then being like,
like your Babcock era shit.
Oh yeah. There's anytime I went to like a concert or something, I was like, I'll watch the game when I get home, and then you get home at like.
So you're going back through your PVR and watching the games you've missed.
Well, I've got the Game Center app, so I can go. Like I could start if this gets real fucking crazy. I could start the season over again. I don't know why I would. I don't know why I would do that to myself.
Not this particular season.
Yeah, not this particular season. But if shit gets real crazy, like check on me. I don't know, mid-April if there's still no ruling, and it's like. Yeah. If I'm live tweeting games, if I'm tweeting about Cody's, if I'm live tweeting about Jason Spezza not being in on opening night in like April 21st, just, reach out to me and ask if everything's okay.
Oh, man. Concussions and post-concussion syndrome are serious business. Whether you're a player, a concerned parent, a coach, a risk manager, or an executive, they're a major area of concern. HeadCheck Health has developed software and services that improve the way concussions are assessed, tracked, and managed at all levels of sport. Their goal is to create a safer environment of play by giving better tools to the individuals responsible for documenting and assessing concussions and providing better data to administrators to make real health and safety improvements. HeadCheck currently works across the country with the Canadian Junior Hockey League, BC Hockey, Rugby Ontario, the Western Lacrosse Association, and more to advance their concussion management practices. If you're interested in learning more about how HeadCheck can help your team or organization, please visit headcheckhealth.com or email info@headcheckhealth.com. Well, hopefully by then, though, we'll be back on the ice. We played, so you weren't there. We'll go back because we've been obviously playing some hockey. It looks like, as of right now, the Heart and Stroke Foundation's Hockey Heroes Weekend is still a go, and we're pretty excited about that. It's a great weekend.
Knock on wood so we don't jinx it.
But it's a great weekend where NHL alumni come down. There's a bunch of teams. We play in a tournament. There's no winner except for everybody. It's a non-competitive tournament where people just get out and have fun. on it, and we're playing in it. And Chuck's learning how to play hockey specifically to play in it, and we're really pumped about it. We've been having a lot of fun. And a couple weeks ago, I missed the last skate, and I was probably going to miss it anyway. So the last skate that you were at was a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And that Friday night, I was going to miss the skate anyway, because if anybody follows us on Instagram, they know that I got hit in the face with a puck. I'm a dumbass who wears a half shield in beer league because I thought I was a hero of some kind. And I was only wearing a half.
I still got to buy a shield or a cage.
I was just wearing a visor, and I took a puck to the face, and it sucked because I got a puck in the face at like 11 o'clock at night. I had a 6 a.m. flight. I had to go to the hospital and get stitches. And it was dumb because I'm, just there. I'm in a lot of pain. I'm bleeding a lot, and I'm just worried that I'm going to miss my flight. Luckily, it all worked out, and my flight to New York to do on-camera stuff worked out with stitches and a swollen lip, but it's all good. But what's really weird is that I came back, and this is the part of the story that I just wanted to tell you because it's fucking hilarious to me. So I come back, and I'm supposed to wait like a week or so to get the stitches out. So that should take me to like Thursday or Friday. And at the point that I'm gone, everyone's kind of aware of Corona, but it's not like as crazy as it is this week. Like everything in North America really dialed up to 11 this past week. So I get back and it's, just kind of like, I'm washing my hands. I'm doing what everybody's supposed to be doing. I'm washing my hands a lot. I'm trying not to touch my face. I'm doing all these things. Except my face is like all swollen and shit, and I have to go get stitches. So I'm driving in to visit my aunt this weekend. And on Thursday afternoon, as I'm driving, my wife is like Maria's checking her phone, and she sees the thing about how you're supposed to stay away from hospitals if you've been outside the province in the last 14 days. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm supposed to get my stitches out tomorrow. And so I'm like really wary of it, but it's like, I can see it's healing really well. And the stitches are like, the thing with stitches, if you don't get them out, it gets really fucking hard. Like you have this really small window of like where they're healed to when they're problematic to get them out. And they're on my face, and I just don't want to get like manicure scissors to try to take them out myself or anything. So I call the health line, and they're like, we don't know what to do, whatever. Like someone will call you back. Someone will call you back in the next bit. We don't know when. And I'm just paranoid and waiting. And so by the time like about 24 hours hits, I say, shag it. I don't have any symptoms. I'm, everything seems fine. I know now as well that like people are talking about asymptomatic stuff. It isn't necessarily whatever. But so at the time, I figure, okay, I'm going for it. I put on my long winter overcoat with my scarf and gloves, and I'm like, okay, I'll pull my scarf up above my face, and it'll kind of serve as a bit of a mask, and I'll go in and I'll talk to somebody, and I'll see what I can do. But I show up, and I'm trying to be as low-key as possible, but they've changed the hospital in Grand Falls. So when I try to go into what is emergency, that's now ambulance only and only works if you're like buzzed in or whatever. And so I'm like banging up, and I'm like trying to open the door, and I'm dressed like the Invisible Man. I still have like my sunglasses on at this point with a hat over my eyes. So I'm like trying to get in the door with gloves, a long coat, a scarf up over my face. All you can see is my nose. So I go around, I realize what's up, and I'm just like, oh, should I just leave? This isn't like, I don't want to. And then I'm like, no, I'm going to go in. And so when I go in, a nurse and a security guard are coming out to meet me.
Wow.
And I'm just like, hey, she's like, do you have any corona? I'm like, no. Like, I just need to get stitches out.
Do you have any corona?
Yeah. I was just like, no, there's a half case in the car and a bag of limes, but like Jesus. And so she's just like, nothing with COVID-19. I'm like, no, I was out of the province. They said to avoid hospitals, but I need to get these stitches out. And they're like, oh, okay. So, but you don't have any symptoms or anything? I'm like, no. She's like, okay, give me your MCP. I'll be back in a second. So I sit down, drop my scarf a little bit. My phone rings, and it's the health line calling me back.
Oh.
And so I'm trying to explain what's happening to the lady. I'm like, well, I'm here. And she's just like, what? I'm like, well, I'm at the hospital. Oh, they're calling me. I got to go. I hung up on her and went in. And then, I go and I sit down, I talk through everything, and everyone's really cool and all that kind of stuff. And then I go into this little room, and then before I do, like the triage nurse is like, now, because you've been out of the province, even though you're asymptomatic and we're not concerned or whatever, because you've been out of the province, just be ready. And I was like, what? She's like, there's precautions. And so I go and I sit down, and then a minute later, like the nurse comes in, and she's got like the long Johnny coat with the gloves pulled up over and the mask on her face. And I'm like, oh, this is why they didn't want me to get freaked out. And so she just takes it out, pops the stitches out, sends me on my way in and out of the hospital in all of like 15 minutes. I feel like, like...
You gonna have a scar there?
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna have a nasty scar. But, it's,
Finally got a hockey scar.
But how was, that was my ridiculous story about going to the hospital like the Invisible Man and stressing everybody out. But how was hockey that night that I missed?
It was pretty good. It was the first game. It was my third game. First game I made it the entire skate without a single fall. 0 falls.
Really?
Yeah,
and I missed it.
That was another big bucket list item. Never
0 falls, 0 goals.
0 goals. 0 goals. Who knows if I got a secondary or something? No idea on that. Don't count those. But
you don't count your apples.
You don't count that. But 0 goals. I think I might have got a shot on net, maybe 2, but nothing. We had real goalies.
Hey, hey now.
But no, I was more so focused on being a little bit more positionally sound.
There you go.
Soggy was.
Have you locked in? You locked in on the wing, right?
Yeah,
your right wing.
I think I'm a winger. I think that's until I learned to skate backwards. Soggy was there, and he was. He's really changed my on how I go to the net now.
Yeah.
He's really. He gave me some pretty big tips on that. So.
Well, Sog actually used to coach.
Well, he told me he used to play midget AAA. Too.
He played midget AAA, but he also used to coach. He's won a Fed Cup with. He coached Booth to the high school championship and stuff.
Look at that. So he had some pretty good tips for me. I think they're going to be pretty useful. That, and I think I'm soon going to be ready to get a stick that's actually the size that is for me on skates.
Well, there you go. Well, you've got a couple weeks before we're able to play again.
Yeah, exactly.
Our rink, like so many others around, has shut down. We actually managed to get one last skate in while you were gone out of town. Chuck was out of town. That's why we didn't have an episode last week. Like I said, ships in the night. But I got back Sunday afternoon just in time. We played the Tomcats Battle Cats, I believe is what the Tomcats call their Tomahawks. It's one of the things. It's the Tomcats are an incredible women's team that have various like co-ed teams that they play with that are comprised of all them. So we had a mixed game against them, and it was so much fun. One of our players is really good and scored a bunch, but.
Oh, who was that?
It was Curtis. Curtis is really good. He scored a bunch. And take Curtis out, and I think it was a like 4-3 game, but Curtis scored like 5 goals. But it was, it was other than that, it was really fun. Liam Dillon didn't play. Liam's another one of the guys on the team that hasn't played a whole lot. But it's been super fun getting people out. It's been really good. And we wore jerseys. We had a matching set of jerseys that was fun.
I was so jealous about that.
Yeah. We had a matching set of jerseys that we got from Buckins, where we were in Central. Marie ended up going up to Buckins, and as you know from people on our Instagram know that in Buckins they have the annual Christmas tournament. This year they had it on the pond because the stadium was closed, but they ended up lending us a full kit of jerseys.
That's nice.
So we've got that for any kind of fundraising games we play over the next little bit. So when we do this again, when it comes up, but it was a fun game, and I finally got to play out. Like I've been playing a net with this skate, so I got to play out, and it was super fun to do. And I got a couple goals, and after the second one, we were skating to the dot again for the face off, and Soggy just looks at me, and we're chirping each other back and forth, and it's like, yeah, not bad for a goalie, hey. Because that's it. I've been kind of set in as a mediocre goalie, but we do have another goalie that's on our team locked in as of today.
We've got it locked in.
So we have our goalie now, Leanna. So we can't wait for our next game, which hopefully will be in a couple weeks.
Hey, what was the last game of hockey you've seen? The last game that you sat down, yeah.
I couldn't tell you. I honestly, because I wasn't watching it thinking, oh, this is the last game of hockey I'm going to watch. It was just like a random, it was like just probably watching something late the week before last, just like,
So this is story time with I hit the road last week on Wednesday to drive across the island and stopped Wednesday evening, of course, before Thursday, the news was that Columbus and Pittsburgh would be playing in an empty building, and I was pretty excited for that. Same thing as San Jose. So I was going to watch 2 games of no fan hockey, and I was actually oddly excited for that because I thought it would be like, well, you may never get the chance to do this type of thing. So I stayed the night in Gander with some family of mine, and a cousin of mine is a big Penguins fan, and his brother's a big Leafs fan, so we got together and went to Legends.
Oh, geez.
So when we were at Legends is when the basketball stuff went kind of nuclear.
Oh, and, yeah.
3 players tested positive, and everybody got turned away and all that stuff. So the late game that evening was Edmonton and Winnipeg. And I told the boys, I said, well, if they don't have the game on here with sound, I said, I'd like to go somewhere with it because it's going to be the last game for a long, long time. And they're like, do you think? I was like, Yeah, and before we left Legends, so that was like a 10:30 start game or 10 o'clock start or something. Before we had left Legends, the NBA had already the NHL game had started, but the NBA had already
Announced.
had scrubbed its season or postponed for the time being. And I think the second intermission is or the first intermission, one of those intermissions is like everyone on the Hockey Central or the the Sportsnet thing were just like, the game might as well have been like television static. They just weren't paying any attention to. And it was a pretty good game. I think one of the Jets guys had 2 goals. I can't remember. I don't think it was Scheifele, but anyway, everyone was more like, what happens next type of thing. And before the game had ended, the NHL had released a statement that they're going, ahead as planned with no fans at attendance. But then the next day, the CDC kind of said, all right, no groups bigger than 50 people.
Yeah.
And that's impossible to do. 2 hockey teams and refs and coaches, that's impossible to do.
Yeah.
Unless you got the Zamboni driver playing goalie to cut down on, keep it to 49.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking back through and trying to figure it out, I think it was actually it wasn't even an actual like live game. I think the last hockey I watched was Sportsnet doing a replay of the Bruins Flyers game on Wednesday afternoon.
Oh.
So it was Tuesday night they had the game. Yeah. I watched some of the game that night, and then Wednesday afternoon was watching some of it as I was doing stuff around the house. And then whatever happened Wednesday night, I didn't watch. But I had that game on. The Bruins won 2-0. And, as of right now, the Flyers, according to simulations, even though we slept on them, we did not have them even making the playoffs in either one of our pools, even though they were going on late surges. They are, by a lot of simulations, like the favorites to win the Stanley Cup right now. But the Bruins, who are they got their 100th point out of it and also shut out the Flyers, who were the favorites to win the Stanley Cup, according to simulations. So on that note, I do think you should probably just give them the trophy and just call it a wash.
I don't even give them a cup. Give a bronze bust of either Bill Daly or Gary Bettman, which to me is
which is worse.
The image of that would be very funny to me. I did see a game in Corner Brook though. I went to.
I saw. I was talking to you when you were at the rink.
Went to the rink in Corner Brook and watched a rec league game. A buddy of mine plays over there. He's a stay-at-home defenseman. I now understand why he used to get so upset with me for ragging on Roman Polak and Ron Hainsey. I now fully understand on that. But Darren Colburn came out and watched the game with me after.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and I got a tour of the rink with them and a nice history of the Royals and
the Pepsi Center in Corner Brook?
Yeah,
Great.
gorgeous rink.
Great rink. Yeah. I played my second. Like my of the 2 all Newfoundland tournaments I played there, like my Easter tournament when I was in Pee Wee, my second one was at the Pepsi Center.
Oh yeah.
And then like lots of fond memories of, circa the Spice Girls blowing up,
So I sat down and there was not a soul in the arena. Like I was, not a soul in there. And this is before everything was hovering around 8. Now it's up to around 10. So everything was kind of. My buddy figured, this is probably going to be our last game, of the season due to everything shutting down. So I said, well, I'm going to, this is the last hockey game I'm going to watch in a while. I might look like a friggin' nut, but I'm going to walk to the place I like to sit in a rink, which is down on the far side instead of just sitting down in an empty seat right when you're in the door. And I sit down on the far side in the scrum corner where I like to sit. And I brought a beer, but I didn't open it because I didn't know if the Zamboni driver would yell at me.
Was it can or bottle?
It was a can.
It
probably would have been fine.
He wouldn't have cared.
And Darren came down, and as Darren came down, my buddy sends me a text from the dressing room. He says, hey, Darren Colburn's son's on the team against us. He's really good.
Yeah.
And I said, don't tell me what number he is. And Darren says, yeah, my son Matthew's playing that. I said, don't tell me what number he is. I said, I'm told he's really good. I want to see if I can guess.
Yeah.
And literally off the face-off, I see this, taller guy's first 3 strides.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, number 20 is your son. And he's like, how'd you tell? I was like, just because the first 3 strides separate, when I'm watching a person. I was like, yeah, number 20 is definitely your son.
Yeah.
And he's a hell of a hockey player. The same thing with our game. If you I think it was a 1-0 game if you removed Darren from that team, and they won 5.
Darren's kid, you mean?
Yeah, Darren's kids. Sorry, they it would have been a 2 or 3-0 game, but he scored 5 on them. So
yeah, it's just it's funny how one person can do it sometimes.
Oh jeez.
But yeah, it's weird. There's no hockey. But again, we still have our Heart and Stroke stuff going, which we're excited about.
Absolutely.
So we're hoping that
I shook the goose egg over the weekend.
I saw that.
Yeah,
You also, you've also got some Friday night stuff to go in there, so that'll go up. But
absolutely.
And we just posted on our social media. We just posted Chuck's. I'm trying to do a thing where I just trying to introduce everybody to the team, and I'm doing it on a 1-by-1 basis. 1, because I don't have cards for everybody yet, and 2, there's still a couple spots open on the team. So through those 2 different things, I'm just posting kind of 1-by-1s at this point. So we're starting with Chuck tomorrow. Spoiler alert, it's going to be me. But then once those 2 are
you
up,
finally got a picture of you playing out?
yeah.
Okay, there you
and
go.
I'm like lined up for a face-off, so I'm not actually doing
Nice.
anything, but it's still all right.
What I guess we're going to use all of the have we decided on jersey shells yet?
Well, we pretty much know what they're going to be.
Oh, so Dwan's going to get the juice?
Well, Dwan is currently in the lead. Our friend Dwan Street has been fundraising.
Better not be those Penguins thirds.
It's going to be the Penguins thirds.
They're hideous.
They're not. They're fine.
They're the worst. They're the worst.
Everybody is on board with the gold and black now.
Oh, are they really?
We played the game the other day.
I guess so. I guess they would be. Those new those Penguins third jerseys, man. That's like
no. You know what?
I've team that's got such great jerseys.
I've been saying for a long time. Those Penguins thirds are fine if you wear a black helmet.
Yeah,
and they are.
Yeah,
it's the yellow helmet is what makes everybody hate those so much.
I don't know.
Ours are going to look nice. Either way, it looks like that's what we're going to do. She keeps saying she's going with the black ones, but I feel like she says that just so that we're all like, oh, whatever. And then she heel turns and does the yellow.
In my opinion.
But we're all kind of on board with it by now.
The best shells in hockey right now are the Penguins whites. That's the best one.
No, I think we're going with the yellows. And I'm on board with it.
They're hideous.
No, they're fine.
Get the old RoboPen shells.
But what we talked about with everybody was that we said that whoever was in the lead in fundraising at the time that it was time to like pick the jerseys, that's who we would let pick. Basically, is the way it all went down. That's who we said we'd let pick, and so Dwan is currently in the lead by like 3 times as much as the next person.
Yeah.
She's got like over $3,000, and Curtis I think has a little over 1,000, and she's gonna get to pick, and she's going to pick Penn's colors, and we're pretty sure she's gonna pick the they've changed the thing. Hang on 1 second. Oh, it's just saying like in this difficult changing time, we must take care of each other. As such, we made the decision. Oh no, some events and programs. Get details about individual programs here.
No, I don't want to learn this way live on the air.
No, that one's fine. Okay, cool. I think it's just that like I looked at it differently because like normally it just comes as a pop-up and I dismiss it, but
Jesus.
But yeah, that was really scary. That it was just like, but I was just trying to like see the thing about our team and see how our team was doing, and that was a really scary thing that the Heart and Stroke Foundation did. But yeah, it's some events are getting changed and stuff, but ours is not as of right now, and it might change over time. You don't know what's going to happen, but as of right now, it's still going ahead.
All right.
And I'm just trying to haul up our team thing, and I like lost it. I had it, and then it was gone again. But yeah, so Dwan's in the lead with a whole bunch of fundraising. Curtis is behind her, but I don't think any of us are going to catch Dwan. Dwan currently has $3,300. Curtis is in second place with 1,000. I'm in third with 578. So I don't think I'm going to catch her.
No. All right. So
I don't think Curtis is either, because a lot of Curtis's fundraising was coming from running a skate. He started running a Thursday night, and he was looking forward to that. But luckily, he hit his goal, and he's going to get his base layer and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty good. But yeah, we're going to get yellow shells. It's going to be a thing that happens.
That's going to be a thing?
Yeah. It's pretty much locked in. We're all pretty. And then we all wore them the other night. And we're just kind of like, we're kind of okay with the yellow shells.
I'm already behind on the team building events.
Yeah,
and
but
now we're social distancing. I can't catch up on the team building events.
we'll try to do something.
All right.
We'll try to do something soon. We'll do. We got the chat thread going now. We got a group chat going, so that'll help.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, this is a relatively short one for us.
I was gonna say, I think this is, we're at the 40-minute mark here now. We've had some laughs. We're all,
and this is kind of, we've got another episode coming soon. Hopefully, this is mostly just to kind of catch up and just kind of say hey. But also, like I said, where we are planning Heart and Stroke stuff, and that's
you'll hear from us.
And we also have a bunch of guests, kind of that we're in the process of lining up. A lot of the alumni are going to hop on the show and chat with us, and we're just kind of waiting to hear back on that. But obviously, with everything going on, everything's kind of weird. But hopefully, that'll all work out very soon, and we'll have all that locked down and have some episodes with some of the great alumni that are coming to town for the Heart and Stroke Foundation's Hockey Heroes Weekend very soon.
Right on. Is that to play us out? Are we done?
I think that might be it. So
it.
until next time,
I'm actually gonna. So tomorrow I'm gonna line up the 4 or 5 games I've missed.
Yeah.
On my watch list, and I'm gonna start watching them as if they're anew.
All right.
That's what I'm gonna do. So I'll be coming back the next time we record and talking about hockey that happened in like fucking 12 weeks ago.
Yeah. But in the meantime, head over to 3mipodcast.com. You can find the link to our Heart and Stroke Foundation team there. And to sponsor if you want to sponsor or donate or do anything like that. Or we're still looking for a couple of spots. I think we have 1 or 2 to fill. But we're still looking for all that stuff. If you're interested in coming out on our Friday night skate, if you're in town, when that starts up again in a couple weeks, let us know. We'll try to get you out for that. In the meantime, keep an eye out for everything. I'm at Hickey, Mike Places.
I am at Smokes and Doors.
And we are 3MI Podcast pretty much everywhere. So you can find us then. We'll be back at you very soon to shout at you about some hockey.
Maybe hockey.
Talk to you soon.